Cool. All right. So, what are we looking at today? I mean, this is the first kind of scheduled live AMA. So, ask me anything through Mighty, through the network, through the Natural Body Running Network. But as we are very small right now, we're going to start with topics that I'm going to bring up. But as always, if you are online, drop your questions. That'd be great. And basically, yeah, ask me anything. But what we're going to look at today is just talking about full recovery in your sport and how best to return to your sport. So, thanks for tuning in. It's always great to have people around. So, whether you've been sidelined by injury, illness, long layoff, big long injury, coming back stronger is always the number one goal. But full recovery isn't just about healing physically. It's about regaining the confidence, regaining the strength and agility you need to perform at your very best, getting back to where you were prior to injury. So today we'll talk about the key steps to a successful comeback, common mistakes to avoid, and how to prepare yourself mentally for your return to competition, because that's the big one, the mental side of things. We talk about that a lot on this channel. So what does full recovery actually mean? So it's not just about being pain-free, right? There's a lot more to it than being out of pain. It's about getting back to the level of performance you had before this injury, this setback, or even better. It means restoring your range of motion, restoring your strength, your endurance, your coordination, your proprioception, but whilst also ensuring that the injured area is just as strong as or stronger than it was before the injury. Because there's a reason why you got the injury in the first place. I mean, you shouldn't have got injured if it was strong enough anyway. So we kind of we're at this level here, and we get so many people that come back up to this level here and think they're good, but we want to get you back up here because you can easily just go down and up, down and up, down and up. And so you have to feel confident that you can perform without that fear of re-injury. And often that's the hardest part for athletes. So we're talking about a combination of physical and mental readiness. And I think a lot of athletes rush back too soon because they feel okay, but they haven't truly regained that full capacity to train or compete without limitations. So some key steps to achieving this full recovery. Steps you can potentially take to ensure full recovery and successful return to your sport. Where do you start? And of course, it comes back to proper rehab, proper rehabilitation. And this means sticking to a structured plan, focusing not just on the injured area, but on the whole body. I've made this mistake in the past after my first knee surgery, only focusing rehabbing one side, that knee, that knee. That was the problem. Fast forward 18 months, other knee went because I made the other one. Well, it's not the real reason, the only reason, but making discrepancies. The body loves to work in symmetry. So, yes, you've got one side injured, rehab the other side. Because you don't want to cause these compensations in other parts of the body. So, addressing these is crucial. But also, you want to, again, going back to the injury, it's not just about your knee. You might need to work on your hip. You're probably going to work on your hips and your ankles and that. I mean, again, looking back to my own experience with my first knee op, replacing that ACL, all my rehab back then seemed to just focus on the strength of the knee, which now I know is just complete crap because the knee had just been repaired, it'd been replaced, it was strong. The real reason why it went in the first place is because of lack of hip stability, lack of glute function. So none of that was addressed in my rehab, and it's pretty obvious why I did it again and again. And like I always say to all my clients, is 90% of the time where the pain is never the problem. So we got to look upstream and downstream. Um, so yeah, it's just looking at the body as a whole. That's the biggest thing. And so when next step is kind of looking at how you're going to progress, that gradual progression. And many athletes make the mistake of jumping straight back into full intensity training. Again, I did it myself. I've been through this because I had a hamstring graft for my ACL repair, I tore my hamstring too early, thinking it was okay. So it's building that confidence, that safety within the body, and slowing the brain down to allow you to get to that place. And it's starting off light. It's building back gradually. It's moving to the sport specific exercises before returning to full competition. And everyone wants to be back earlier than they can, but that's not always the case. It's better to wait that little bit longer just to give you that safety. And you need to adapt those levels. You've not been playing those levels for a while. Could only be a few weeks, could be months, could be years. You gotta judge that. But then you also hear a lot of athletes say that they feel like they were going backwards when they had to take it slow. But in reality, that gradual progression is setting them up for a stronger return. So it doesn't matter how slow you're going. Yes, it's hard, sucks being on the sidelines, but you've got to focus on coming back stronger than you were before. And so the next, we kind of want to start rebuilding that strength. Once we've got that confidence, once we've got the gradual progression, we want to build that strength and endurance back in the soft tissues, just back in the muscles. And it's not just about getting your body back to where it was, but ensuring that your entire body is conditioned to handle the demands of your sport. Because again, there's a reason why you broke down in the first place. That needs to be looked at. That needs to be worked out. Make sure that doesn't happen again. So doing things different you've done before, because if you just keep doing the same thing again, you're going to get injured. You're going to get injured. You're going to get injured. So it's working out where your weakness was. That's the beauty of the downtime of the injury. Work this crap out. So more looking at the mental side of recovery. And we've touched on this briefly, but let's dive deeper into the mentality side of things. So how can athletes regain confidence when they're worried about the re-injury? Because that's the biggest problem. I still worry today, like 10 years after my last knee up, ACL, that it's going to happen again. It's just something that gets stuck there. Regaining that confidence is a huge part of that full recovery. And it really starts with setting these small little realistic goals during the rehab process that you can just keep hitting, keep hitting, keep hitting, keep hitting. Because if you're just going straight to there, you're going to jump past all those little steps. And each time you hit a goal, whether it's regaining a certain range of motion or completing a certain exercise or getting a certain speed, it helps rebuild that trust in your body, that confidence that you've lost from the injury. And a big way to help this is technique called like visualization. Athletes can mentally rehearse themselves performing their sport at full strength. And this not only helps boost confidence, but also reinforces that muscle memory. The mind is a very powerful thing in injuries. It's a powerful tool. You visualize yourself succeeding, you're preparing your body to perform when the time comes. And again, giving another example from my own experience, I started doing visualization with my chiropractor a long time ago after I think it was my second knee up. And I'm laying on the bed and he just wanted me to visualize running down the field. So I did that. I tore my ACL within my visualization. And how messed up is that? Like my brain was so fried, just loss of confidence, loss of this ability just to be able to run in my own visualization where I re-tore the injury. It's just crazy. So the physical side of the rehab, I could do again and again and again. The mental side, I'd hate to put anybody through it. It's just, I remembered tearing my third ACL and just thinking, no, I can't do this again mentally. Physically, easy. I know what I'm doing. Mentally is always the hardest part. So this is where visualization, it can really come in handy to work on that, and it's a very underrated tool. It's not just about picturing yourself winning, it's about mentally rehearsing movements and situations you might encounter during competition. It can make a huge difference in how prepared you feel, and so many high-level athletes will do this, about take a free kick or especially conversions, penalties in rugby, like, they are just visualizing that ball going over. Like, it sounds silly, but it freaking works. So stuff like mindfulness and meditation can really help manage the anxiety around this uh, fear of re-injury. So being present and focusing on now what you're doing allows athletes to avoid this overthinking and reduces that mental barrier that can come up during your recovery. So common mistakes to avoid in your return to sport. There can be pitfalls that athletes should avoid when they're coming back from injury, and what are the things to look out for? And one of the most common mistakes is not following through with your rehab plan. I've had a few mates who, again, ACL, I want my ACLs, but they just didn't do the rehab. They got rid of their crutches too quickly. They're jumping back in the car, trying to drive too quickly, and they just don't do the step-by-step process. That first initial rehab process is the most important thing. And once athletes start to feel better, like I do with my hamstring, they often stop their rehab exercise. And again, I see a lot of clients in the clinic just drop pain's disappeared. But the thing is, the real work really starts once the pain is gone. Going back to this again, we get back to that no pain, comes back. We get back to the pain, comes back. We again want you to heal, so the pain will never come back. But even after you're back to full activity, you need to continue with these exercises to maintain strength, prevent that injury. Non-stop battle. It's an ongoing process. And another mistake I kinda see is a lot of athletes who ignore warning signs. You start feeling pain or discomfort during your return, it's important to address it immediately rather than try to push through it. Like I always say, these little pains are little whispers. They start with whispers, just the brain telling you something's not quite right, something's not quite happy. We need to change a little bit. Listen to me. But you don't listen, whisper gets a little bit louder, a little louder, a little bit louder, till it starts screaming and bam, injury back. Another setback. That pain is just a signal something might still be. Pushing through will definitely lead to a setback. And last, we look at overtraining, quite a big one. Athletes eager to make up for the lost time. Of course, they've done so much. But doing too much too soon can cause lots of fatigue, muscle imbalance, ultimately re-injury. So it's been really smart having an expert in your corner, a coach in your corner, just to keep you on track, having a team around you. So practical takeaways, what can we do for athletes seeking full recovery? First, patience. Stick to rehab. Just there's no there's no point in rushing back. Even after you start feeling better, stick to the process, stick to your plan, and don't skip steps. Gradually progress back into build the safety, build the confidence, because you may have the performance, but if you're not safe and confident in your own body, you go again. It's doing what is best for you mentally. Physical will come. Hard work starts in the mental side. It's working on that mental game, setting those small goals, visualizing your success, and practicing mindfulness to help that anxiety about re because the brain never forgets, the body never forgets pain, forgets an injury. So you need to reiterate to that brain, to that body that you are safe, you're safe, your spine's safe, your knees safe, your brain's safe, because that's what we're built for, to survive. We've still got that Neanderthal brain that is born to survive as long as possible. So it's always gonna keep going back to that. So I hope you found these kind of insights not helpful for your journey to full recovery. Remember, it's not about just healing the injury, it's about coming back stronger and more resilient than ever. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. As always, to subscribe and give us a follow. And if you are looking for more help, especially on the running side of things, whether you did have a running injury, whether it's a hamstring, whether it's the knee, calf, lower back, hip, whatever, there are plans in place to make sure you don't come back to that. So click the link below, get your 2-week free trial. We can have a look at your running technique and see where you are potentially going. Otherwise, have a good day.